to welcome you all. And really, for most of you, I'd like to welcome you back. There are those of you here who served as board members, those of you who went to camp here for many years, those of you who served on committees, played basketball, softball, were in plays, bowled, were counselors, CITs, ran programs, volunteered for programs, won awards here, volunteered in the kitchen. There are those of you who remember the smell of the gym on Cumberland Ave, the smell of the bathhouse at Center Day Camp. There are those of you whose parents and grandparents spent days and evenings on committees, in clubs. Those of you whose families began this very organization with ties extending back to 80 years ago when the JCC opened its doors. I'm so happy to have you all here.
I went to Center Day Camp from, probably the time I was 7 or 8, for many years. For the JCC, when I got out of college, I joined the board of directors. I was on the House Committee, the Athletic Committee. I was president of the JCC. I helped put together the merger between the JCC and the Federation. Held various events and stayed on the board for probably a dozen years.
Are there any specific memories throughout all the Jewish activity you've had that you'd like to share?
It was just all the friends I made and the good times we had on Cumberland Avenue. I'd get picked up after Hebrew school, dropped off to play basketball, stay there all night. Most of the time we would, it was a carpool and one of the parents would drive us through the McDonald's drive-thru on the way to basketball. Ping pong tournaments, racquetball tournaments, just all the events, the sports nights. It was just a fun place to be and a great place to hang out with your friends.
Growing up in Portland, the Jewish community was a lot different then than it is now. When I was a kid, there were 3 Jewish meat markets in the Middle Street area. My aunt and uncle had Rice's Bakery, and another uncle had Seavey's Market. Those were across the street from each other on Franklin Street. I grew up on Munjoy Hill, and the Jewish Community Center on Cumberland Avenue was the focus of our lives. As young Jewish kids, that's where we went for recreation activities, play basketball, go to awards nights, and other activities at the JCC. That's where everybody my age, older or younger, that's where we went. And then I was a counselor at Center Day Camp for a couple years when I was in high school. And I was on the board of the JCC when it was on Ashmont Street. Okay. I was vice president of the board. I ran all the sports banquets for a number of years. My father ran them when I was younger, when we used to have guest speakers from the Boston Celtics. Great memories of the center.
My name is Don Hoffman. I grew up in Portland. I lived here until I was 21, and I was very involved, as all of the Jewish kids in the community were, with the Jewish Community Center during the high school years. Okay. The basketball program before that, was Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. During the 50s, we had both fraternities and sororities in clubs within the Jewish community, in addition to the temple and the synagogue programs for youth. The JCC was really the center point of the activities for the Jewish kids, teenagers. I graduated from the University of Maine and then left for Massachusetts after. But I was very involved in the Jewish community as a teenager. On the inter-center weekends, the Jewish kids from the other major Jewish communities, Bangor, Lewiston, Auburn, would come to Portland, or we would go to those communities. We would have the same type of inter-center weekend, and it was really a lot of fun. those are the memories of the high school.
It was the only camp I ever attended from the moment it opened, and I went all the way through college. I was a camper, a CIT, a junior counselor, a regular counselor, and I even went back as the camp nurse.
Oh, wow.
So when I was in college, the Jewish Community Center on Cumberland Avenue was our go-to place. Our lives revolved around the Jewish Community Center in those days. It was just a wonderful place and time to grow up. We felt very safe. We knew that people cared about us. Somebody was very busy keeping us close to the Jewish community. We had what we called intercenter weekends and go to the other. They put us on buses and we would travel for hours to go to Augusta and Bangor and Lewiston for what they called intercenter weekends. And we stayed in other kids' houses and had a dance and a dinner and went to Friday night services, and so much of our identity was tied up in the community, the Jewish community. And for many of us, it marked our path the rest of our lives.
My name is Fran Jacobson.
And my name is Judy Rosen.
I grew up in Portland, so I was always at the JCA. And then when I married and had children, they were there all the time. Yep. Central Women's Club. Federation.
Lawn parties. I actually worked at the JCA. I was a program director for a while, and I was very active there. I was from the was president, and we were just very, very active at JCA. I think for me it was especially good with the community for the Center Women's Club especially. We would go on show clubs, we'd go down to Boston and see different plays. We had women's groups who had lawn parties to raise money for the Jewish Community Center, always done at people's homes. And it was just memories of just having a community together, making sure that everybody took care of each other.
And when my children were active at the JCA, I was always involved with doing we used to do an annual banquet at the end and bring in a basketball player or a superstar from some other sport, and they used to be our guest and our guest speaker at the end of these banquets.
There will always be inter-youth type things too at the JCA.
Yeah.
We would have other Jewish community centers that would be at the Jewish Community Center. We would also bring in people from Israel, and we would have them stay in our homes. It was just always a very active and a great place for both adults and children.
We used to go from Portland, we would go to Bangor and meet the Jewish kids from Bangor, and they would come to us, and Lewiston was involved, and it was a nice way to meet people that lived in the community.
I grew up in Portland. I grew up playing basketball at the old Jewish Community Center on Cumberland Avenue. Played basketball right through being an adult at the different places that would have basketball. I also went to Central Day Camp every summer of my life, starting in second grade. I really feel like Central Day Camp always felt like it was my camp. It was my place to be in the summertime. And then as I got older and had a family, my kids both went to the J for preschool. And hi, Larry. And then there's always Larry. So my kids, when I got older and grew up and had a family, my kids went to the J for preschool.
I grew up in this town, so I've been here over 60 years. Started out getting involved with the center when it was on Cumberland Avenue. Everybody at that time, all my friends played basketball, went to the center, hung out there on the weekends and that sort of thing. And also Center Day Camp, starting 1960-61. So time I was probably 6 till 12, I would say. And then later on, through the teen years, and then go off to school. When I came back, I got involved with the board of directors and ended up being president, believe it or not, for a couple of years in the late 80s. At the old CDC, at the old center, it's been a long time, but getting in line to get those basketballs, because there were only like 2 good ones out of 10 when the gym opened up. I remember that some people used to have the gym clothes on under their regular clothes, peel them off and on. Senate Day Camp, it was a different world back then. The Jews, I think, tended to be right in Portland, Maine versus spread out like they are now. So it was a more close-knit group. The Jews hung out with the Jews a little bit more back then. And so those were the institutions where we did our hanging out.
My name is Jeff Shapron, and my relationship to the JCC and the CDC is basically through my former wife's family, who's Theda Friedman. And I believe her father, you may have to go check the records, but I believe her father, Bernie Friedman, was one of the founders of CDC originally. I was on the board myself, I think back in '86. I think I was the House Vice President. Basically, when I first moved to Portland. But we had family camp up on Sebago Lake, and we used to take the boat and stop off at the docks. My kids, Brad and Evan Shaffer, who were counselors and campers throughout Center Day Camp.
My name is Selma Cope.
And I'm Jerry Cope.
Many years volunteering in any and many ways. Center Youth, Center Women's, you name it, and we were both involved.
I was president of the high school group back in the Center Youth group back in the 1940s. And was very active in the center. When I came back from service, I was activities director for 2 years here, a job that nobody remembers that I had. And we have been very active in the activities of the center for many, many years.
For many years, I was involved with Center Youth. Every Friday night, the kids in the group knew that I liked donuts. They would go after services at the temple, buy donuts, bring them to 48 William Street. I was pregnant with our second son, and they wanted me to be happy with donuts. Many years.
I went to Senate Day Camp for about 8 years, ever since I was in grammar school. I was also a counselor in training in the athletic department, and I got to work with Joe Russo, who's been a longtime coach since of Portland High School basketball, and Dave Allen was my boss back then, and Dave Allen was a great referee and coach for many years, and so I really have a great affinity for the Jewish Community Center and for the Center Day Camp. I played basketball my junior year here, many other years, but we were the New England champion basketball team.
Oh, wow.
And we were, though I was really a garbage time player, we were really good. And Dave Allen was our coach, and Dave Littlefield, who is now an executive with the Chicago Cubs, but back then had been drafted by the Phillies and played football for UMass before he injured his, I believe, his knee, was our center. He joined the JCA to play ball, and he didn't want to play for Portland High that year, so he played for us. And as I reminded him a few years ago, he walked out of the Jewish Community Center, I believe it was at Hartford, either Hartford or Providence, with the gym bag that had MVP and Hebrew letters on it. So those are really, really fond memories. We could not, unfortunately, raise the money to go down to Houston for the Nationals, but we were a good team. And then, of course, Senate Day Camp, I just have so many fond memories of overnights and just every aspect of it. I used to spend most of my time in athletics, so I hung out a little bit with Charlie French, who was the janitor and the maintenance person back then, and we I was always chosen not always, but a couple of times chosen as counsel for a day, either by my counselor or Charlie French once, and we just had a blast.
I'd like to thank Jessica Lantos for putting this together. Great event. I hope she puts some more events just like it together.
It's nice to see this facility. There was, my memories go back to the Jewish Community Center on Cumberland Avenue, and it was sad for us to have lost that, even though we were gone. So this facility is fabulous. It's beautiful. I can see that they're doing a lot of good things for the Jewish community, and the Jewish community, from what I can tell, is supporting it. So that's all good.
It's a joy to be here in this wonderful building and to see the vibrancy of the community here in Portland.
This is a great event. I'm glad Jessica is doing what she's doing, put this all together, and all these old photos that have been saved and now we're going to be scanned hopefully forever. I think it's a good thing, so I want to thank her.
I think this is a wonderful event. Jessica Lantos deserves a lot of credit for putting this together and getting these pictures out and having people review them for art carving purposes and things like that. I think it's great.